Okay, so good evening and welcome to another in the series of Nav Life sessions, Navigating Life, a place where we examine issues that impact our lives and work with participants to identify solutions to those problems. The Nav Life series is a presentation of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. We have been having these sessions for many years, definitely long before COVID. So I know this has been going on for some time. And tonight, we continue this series. And we want to look at managing me to manage my relationship with you. This is a compelling topic because interpersonal relationships, issues at home, issues in the workplace, issues in the church, issues all over. A lot of this has to do with, first of all, understanding, and then getting to the place where we manage our own selves such that we can relate to others better. But I don't want to start to get into this because our presenter today is Brother Andre Allen Casey. But let us have a word of prayer, if you don't mind, before we start. Almighty God, we give you thanks, Lord, for this opportunity to address issues that impact our lives in this life, and that we could help others to prepare themselves for the next life as well. And so we give you thanks, Lord, for this Nav Life series. We thank you for those who have taken the time to come, to share, to participate. We thank you, Lord God, for our presenters. We thank you for the St. Andrew Church of Christ who has made this possible. We just ask, Lord God, that as we go through these discussions, we will have an open mind. And Lord God, we would be willing to examine ourselves in the light of the information that's been presented, such that we may be able to make adjustments and improvements as necessary. We just again give you thanks for the opportunity and for your continued blessings. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. So, again, this is a presentation of the St. Andrew Church of Christ, just in case, because we normally get these questions in the during these sessions. The content as we speak is being streamed on YouTube live, and we store the information there. So if you go to YouTube, simply Christians JA. So this is it. This link gives you all the content. Also, Facebook, you can go on our Facebook, simply Christians JA, or go to the St. Andrew Church of Christ .org/media website, and you can get not only the Nav Life series, but also sermons and Bible classes. And that's where we want to go. And then tonight's lead facilitator is Brother Andre Allen Casey, who has been stalwart in the church for a few decades. He is a counseling psychologist, and basically, for me, a voice of wisdom, and he, as you can see from the screen, you know, his curriculum. Me, I'm Trevor Smith, and I'll be a sort of guide along the process in the background. So without further ado, Brother Andre, you have the right to share screen and all of that. So I'm just turning it over to you. And once again, want to thank those individuals who are online, who have taken the time to come. I think you're going to find out before we finish that the material is extremely useful. And so once again, I'm going to ask you, if you want to, you can replay or you can share with your friends the information. Go ahead, Brother Andre.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, let me start off by asking, are you able to hear me loud and clear enough?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. My name is, you can call me Brother Andre. I need to give a disclaimer. Put this thing down properly, so right. I need to give a disclaimer, and the disclaimer is, I'm just giving persons an opportunity to try another way, to have an open mind to try another way. In terms, if your ways working for you, then excellent. Maybe you need to come on and teach us. This line of business that I'm into, amazingly, we have seen over and over and over where there are a lot of issues in their relationships. I don't care, and I don't even care what kind of relationship, but generally speaking, in relationships, where we are not able to manage the outcome of the relationship because we have not learned how to manage ourselves. And so we traditionally want to micromanage people without managing myself. I'm not saying what I'm saying here is gospel, but I'm just exposing, sharing another way, and I'm hoping that I won't get too much pushback. This might not even be the platform for us to, if it is going to be new to you, this might not be the platform for us to have too much of a discussion on it. We might need to, I'm going to leave my number and my contact details for you to reach out to me, because I mean, it might charge you, it might cost you rather, but seriously, so we can have further conversation, because there are going to be some things that is going to be kind of new, and I understand that, and I appreciate if it is new, how you'd want more information on how, especially on the how to achieve these things, because the how is, is where a lot of challenges. So for some folks, they will appreciate it. For some, they don't appreciate it, and that's okay. But for those who would like to understand the how, we are saying we will provide another medium, not necessarily through this medium, to explain or to share with you how that can be done. That being said, we're going to take about, sorry to take so much time, but we're going to take maybe 20 minutes to do some recapping. And the reason why it probably can be shorter than that. But if I speak, it can be longer. So guess what I want? I want one of our persons who are participating here and now, who can read fast, and if we can have a little dialogue in, not too long, please, just a little dialogue in, as we go through the recapping. And I'm tempted to call on a name that I'm seeing up on my screen here. TB is the thing there. I don't want to put any pressure on Caroline. I don't want to put any pressure on her. But as I proceed with my slides, I'm going to invite you to read. I'm going to even ask you some questions, although it's just recapping before we get into the other part 2 of our segment. Are you game?
Yeah, man, that's all right.
All right, excellent. So please go ahead and read what you see on the screen in terms of our introduction.
Okay, what are the real reasons for our discontentment and malice in our marriages and relationships? Is it our mannerisms, the way we talk to each other, what we say to each other, or attitudes and general disposition? Do you want me to read all of it?
Yes, go ahead. I'll interrupt you.
Okay. We have all been schooled, whether deliberately or unconsciously, to react negatively to somebody who offends us, hurts us, insults us, and embarrasses us. To respond positively from a malicious attack on our character is considered to be weak and maybe even stupid.
True or false?
True.
Excellent. Continue.
Yeah. What we have failed to recognize is that interpersonal conflicts are about our own feelings, needs, perspectives, and unfinished business. It's about us, not them. Me, not you. It's about what's going on inside of us, our ways of coping, our defensiveness.
Okay, so what I just did right here was to give you my interpretation of what interpersonal conflict or conflicts constitute. That's what I did. So it's about our own feelings, our needs, our perspectives, how things must operate, and the fact, and if it don't operate the way we think it should operate, hence the conflict. What am I going to do about it? Since it should have got this way and it did not go this way. How do I feel about all of those things? So that's what all of that there speaks to. But I have more. Go ahead, attest.
A test of our character is the nature of our responses and reactions when we are under stress.
Stop right there. And so what we're kind of saying here, when you get squeezed, then I know what is inside of you. When you don't get squeezed, then you might behave according to the status quo or what is expected of you. But when you get squeezed, then it's not just what is expected of you. Then I recognize that there's something else inside of you that I did not know about. And it only took a squeezing moment for me to find out that you have some other choice words that you would like to share with me. Continue.
If you develop self-esteem, spiritual discernment, and a life, you won't find yourself making someone else responsible for your happiness or responsible for your pain. Manipulation, control, jealousy, neediness, and selfishness are not the ingredients of thriving, healthy, loving, and lasting relationships. What comes out of us is what is really in us. So when we hurt and hate, the source is internal, not external.
Do you
True.
understand what I'm saying there? So when we hurt and hate, then one of the problems is that we are not taking responsibility for what comes out of us. What we traditionally do, ladies and gentlemen, is say, is because of you, why me? By the way, all of what I'm sharing here was done in part 1. So this is just a recapping once more. But for those who are coming on for the first time, the recapping is just to give you a little base or a little foundation as we seek to do part 2 in a couple of minutes or so. But when we hurt and hate, the source is internal, not external, right away. But some of us, our minds are like, no, that's not entirely true. Well, just bear with me, please. Please continue. True.
True, the trigger is often external to us, but the spark is not the cause of our explosions. The explosive material is already there waiting to happen. Therefore, whatever we are upset about is about us, not them. Me, not you.
All right, stop right there. You see? And that is only unless you say we accept or recognize that I have to take responsibility for what is inside of me. If I agree that the explosive material is already inside of me waiting to happen. So if I squeeze an orange, I'm going to get, work with me, sweetness. I know some of you can say, no, but you have sour orange too. Work with me. And if you squeeze a lime, you're going to get sourness. So when we get squeezed, do we have sweet or sour coming out of us? And do we take responsibility for the sourness that comes out of us? Or do we say it's because of you why I become sour? See, one of the problems is that we do not want to take responsibility. We deflect instead. Instead, we say, yeah, but if you never squeeze me, I would not do. Rather than recognizing that, you know something, wow, I got squeezed a while ago. Look at what I'm saying. Look at what I'm doing. And that's the other way I invite us to, the other perspective I invite us to pay attention to. We have so much more, by the way. But if we can understand this foundation, it is, for me, it's a little bit easier to appreciate what I'm going to share going forward. But we have to understand, and at minimum, open our minds to a foundation of this sort. Too many times, ladies and gentlemen, it is difficult for us to move forward because we still want the other person or the other persons to do better or to treat me a different way for me to do the right thing. So it seems as if their treatment of me is predicated on whether or not I do the right thing. I would like for us to change that concept and mindset. The goal of managing me is not to rely on how you treat me in order for me to do the right thing. That is the goal that we seek not only to establish, but we hope that we will achieve at the end of this presentation. Continue.
From this perspective, it is important that we own our own reactions and responses and stop blaming, shaming, criticizing, controlling, coercing, and withdrawing.
Of all of these, which one do you think we do most? And our excuse, we do it to protect ourselves.
Blaming.
Okay, blaming. And this is where now I wouldn't mind getting some more feedback from some of the participants. You can mic up and say something. Give me one of these that you think is a little bit more widespread than the other or others. Anybody?
Criticize. I don't know.
So we blame, we criticize. Can you go? Well, for me, since I'm not getting anybody coming on, for me, withdrawing.
Okay.
Withdrawing for me, boy. I tell you, because some of these things we can do it in our minds, But and worse if we try to blame and criticize and shame and what have you, and if in our minds we don't see the change that we expect to happen, then of course we ghost you or withdraw. We withdraw. So withdrawing to me, boy, is like our go-to place. Whenever we feel like we're not being heard, or the changes that we are looking, that we're hoping to see, if it's not forthcoming, then I have nothing to do with you. A matter of fact, in our minds, whatever happened to you, I that for reach you. Come and talk to you already. I'm tired of explaining to you. And you come like, who can hear must feel. So, but just make you go and go do your thing. And so the go and go do your thing, is not even something positive. The go and go do your thing is, yeah, man, that must reach you. So although we even allow the person to go and do their own thing, we're still on this side bitter. And I'm like, you just said them can go and go do their own thing. And yet over here, you're still torn apart, although you allow them to go and do their own thing. And I'm just saying, this is why we would forever have interpersonal conflicts. Because when we say we should let go, we still don't even let go the same way. We say, go and do your own thing, man. And we're almost just waiting in a distance to hear or to see if something terrible is going to happen to them, so that we can almost feel vindicated and say, I did tell you, man, but no. Yes, man, that must reach you. I hope you listen to me the next time. Okay. But when we have that kind of mindset, here's my question. Are we able to harmonize a relationship? Are we able to really educate and teach someone? Or is it that we have in our mindset, it is all about if you get punished, then I feel like, no, I can have a conversation with you because see there, you have now, you did not listen to me. This is the punishment that has been meted out, or this is the consequences. So now I hope again, listen to me now. I mean, what does that do with the relationship with you and someone else? Do you think the person is going to come to you and say, hey, you know, say, I'm never listen to you and I'm really get punished, so thank you, so let me come back to you? I agree that some folks might do that. But quite a number of folks, on the other hand, them shame, them feel bad. And it's one thing, and they don't want to come back to you for you to go rub it in their face in any case. So they'd rather even take with themselves, gone back. Here we go again, going back to the withdrawing. I have plenty more. Just give me a second here. Still recapping. So here's the question. Go ahead.
Mr. Allen Casey, this statement sounds to me as if we should not blame others for the wrong they have done to us. Is that so?
And here's my response.
Yeah.
When we take responsibility for our inner world, it increases the possibility that others will be able to hear us non-defensively. And what am I saying here? I have to take responsibility for what come out of me. If I don't do that, then I am going to become distracted by what you did to me. And then it become my focal point or my focus. So rather than for me to learn and to grow from something, or even be in a better position to learn how to manage my relationship with you, it is easier if I continue to blame you for my own downfall. Rather, blame you because you have made me unhappy. And since you have made me unhappy, it is on you to change for me to become happy. Wow. That is, ladies and gentlemen, the mindset of quite a number of folks. That is, unfortunately, the mindset of a number of folks. They have done us wrong, and I agree. But in our minds, I must not make the adjustment since you did me wrong. In our minds, it is you who must change. And if you don't change, then I have the right to continue to feel what? Pain. I have the right to continue to feel bitter. I have the right to continue to withdraw. I have the right to be resentful. Because you were the one who started this. You were the one who did me hurt. And since you are not prepared to say, I'm sorry, or to change the error of your ways, then I have the right to remain in this state of ugliness towards you. We're going somewhere with this. My response to that is this. Continue. Here is the message.
Here is a message to you, my partner, friend, acquaintance. Whatever I say to you is about me, even when I criticize, blame, condemn, or withdraw. What I'm telling you is not about you. I own my reactions to you. You do not make me feel, need, experience, even though it involves you.
Stop right here.
Yeah.
The idea here is where you can imagine you're having the conversation now with the person who offended you. And this is how, by the way, this is how this statement is being unfolded. I am taking responsibility for my inner world. To take responsibility for my inner world, this is the kind of conversation I'm prepared to have with you. I am saying to you, it's really not about you. Because what? I need to own my reactions. The minute I say you make me feel, you make me need, you make me experience, then the minute I put it on you, then it's you making me. I have given you too much responsibility to regulate not only how I live, but even my happiness. Even my happiness. My goal in trying to take responsibility for what comes out of me My goal is to learn to express myself, not to expose you. Exposing you now is saying it's because of you, why me? If you never did, I would not be doing this. I am still giving you too much power. I need to recognize that whatever comes out of me is within me. That you did not put it there. You might pull it out, but you did not put it there. Continue with this. I sometimes
tell you that you make me feel, think, do. This expresses my helplessness and powerlessness, denial, rationalization, projection. I am disowning myself.
Stop right there. And that's all I'm saying here, folks. The minute I say you make me think, you make me feel, you make me do, then what do I make me do? Wow, might as well call you Lord. Might as well call you Lord. Or sometimes, we use JC, towards each other, not the way it should. But as an exclamation. But I'm just saying, might as well call you Lord. If it is the case where you have so much control over me, where do I take control over me? When do I say, no, I have to decide how I'm going to respond to you? And so I say, folks, herein lies the problem. If we don't break that cycle of still pointing on you to decide what I do, then we're going to continue to have interpersonal challenges. We're going to continue to have problems with developing self-efficacy and emotional intelligence. Just saying. There are times
that I don't want to believe what is in me. It's easier to blame, shame, and accuse than to take responsibility for what I say, what I say, see, feel, and do.
Stop right there. And that's all that's what I'm trying to promote here. That don't become so distracted by the pain that or even the victimized way that you were treated, to the point where you need to become a victimizer yourself. That's what I'm saying. When you look at our country, that's what happens, You would think about it, all of our relations, literally most of our relationships. You feel victimized by someone, and we feel that we have to return the favor in increasing measure. I want to stop that. My goal in sharing this presentation is for us to stop that. Find a different route. Therefore, I need to apologize to you for criticizing, for condemning, for expressing contempt and withdrawing from you, apologizing. Can you imagine you did me wrong, and I come and say to you that, something, you did me wrong, you say, and this was my response to what you did to me. And I should not have responded that way. Because in responding that way, I am not in harmony with myself. Worst of all, I'm not even in harmony with you. As a matter of fact, because of the way I felt victimized by you, listen, bitterness grew in me. And I told everybody I could about what you did to me. And so now you even have more enemies than you thought you had before, because I ensured that I told everybody my story about how you caused me pain. Wow, because that's what we're doing, folks. I am saying, if we start to take responsibility about in relation to the ugliness that is created once we feel pain from someone else, if we start to take responsibility for that, and don't follow our feelings, but inform it, and have a conversation with what is the most appropriate thing for me to do, if we do not do that, then I put it to you folks that many of us need to go and apologize. Write down your question. Don't ask it yet, please. Write down your questions. Many of us going to need to apologize. But let me continue. Go ahead. Hold on, sir. Hold on a minute.
Hold on a minute, sir. You have done me wrong, and you are telling me that I must take responsibility for how I react to your malicious behavior? The short answer is yes. You may have heard the common cliche, 2 wrongs do not make a right. A person's bad behavior cannot dictate your response. It is you who must decide how to respond, and not necessarily how you feel to react.
You heard that, folks? You must decide how to respond and not necessarily how you feel to react. The victimizer, go ahead.
The victimizer, which by the way is not of your choosing, should not be further empowered.
Should not be further empowered. If you do what the victimizer wants you to do, not only them draw your tongue, but you're a puppet on a string. They are deciding your happiness. They are deciding your pain. They are deciding your discomfort. I am saying, let us stop giving people so much power over us. Mark you, most persons want to micromanage people and tell people what they expect of them and from them. And if it's not forthcoming, then we'll make the next move, we vex with them. Recently I said to a client, I said, when you look into the mirror, who you see? No, seriously, when you look in the mirror, who you see? Is me you see or yourself? Then if you see yourself, work on yourself, no man. It's high time we start to work when we look into the mirror. Before we leave our house and start to relate to other folks and things like that. When we look in the mirror, who you see? Well, let us work on the person that you see in the mirror. The man in the mirror, as one singer, Michael Jackson or whatever, shared or sang about. And I'm just saying here, work on yourself. And sing, and I want to encourage everybody to work with the man them say or the woman that they say in the mirror. Work on yourself first. You'll be in a better position to help other folks to do the same, or possibly guide them in doing the same. But work on yourself first. If he or she, continue.
If he or she sets out to hurt me, I can choose not to retaliate. I can choose to empower myself by saying, no, thank you, especially considering that what you want to give to me will be of no benefit to me.
That's exactly right. No, thank you. Stop take the ugliness that people give to you. The bad attitude, the bad mannerism. Stop take it. You just have full up yourself with ugliness if you take it. Maybe if we start saying to folks, no, thank you, and leave it with them, then we won't feel so burdened. But we already feel burdened and still take ugliness from people. No, tell me if that make proper sense. No, thank you, man. No, thank you. Go ahead.
While I'm not asking you to keep your attempted malicious attack, I am, however, not spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, or even physically taking it. Point to note, we take it whenever our reaction resembles the attitude or behavior of the victimizer.
That's exactly right. You can't say no, thank you, not going to take this ugly, malicious attack or behavior towards you, and then everything about your response look like them. That don't make any sense. So I'm just saying, if you're not going to take it, ensure that everything about your actions doesn't look like them. That's all I'm saying. That's how you know you don't take it. But if deep down you really want to give it to them, deep back to them in increasing measure, then maybe, just maybe, you have become worse than them. Go ahead. New question.
I would want to think that you are the one who would need to make the adjustments, considering you have committed a crime. Wouldn't you agree? While doing the right thing is good for me, I should equally be focusing on teaching you how to become better.
Stop right there. That's the mindset you must have. Now, the idea is not to become like you. If I mirror your behavior, look at what I've mirrored.
Yeah.
Not something good enough, but something bad. I mean, really. Go ahead, at times.
At times, I believe that I'm morally and emotionally superior to you. I recognize that when I yield to this temptation, I hurt the both of us.
Go ahead.
I want to tell you my truth, to be real and authentic with you. Yet there are times that I focus on what I see to be your flaws, and this obscures my own failings.
That's exactly right. Because and I ask you to go ahead because this is an explanation to the at times. Because they believe that you're better than people sometimes, believe you me, it interferes with even you making an apology to them. It interferes with how you can make the adjustment to teach them what a better way looks like. Because since they did you wrong, then it is not on me to make any adjustment. That's what I mean. When I say that you're morally and emotionally superior, like, no, but I didn't do anything. I never do anything to the person. So because you didn't do anything to the person, it has you no longer have any further responsibility in this matter. It's now on them, not on you. And I'm saying, folks, that is how we think. Several persons, not you, but that's how a lot of folks think. And as a result of that, you see, we still have conflicts. We still have conflict management issues. Because since I was hurt, then, and you hurt me, then you have to make the adjustment. You did the crime. You must do the time. And I am indemnified in every which way. So how do I even help you to come back though? No, seriously, how do I even help you to restore that relationship? No, if that's not the goal, then fine. But even if that's not the goal, do you go away? How do you leave? But a lot of folks say they want to relieve themselves of pain, but they're still in pain. They're still a quarrel. They're still a dream about the incident or the person. They're still having conversation with too many other folks, although they say they have relieved themselves of the pain. So I'm kind of just saying here, maybe, just maybe, we could try a different approach. That if it's peace I am seeking, if it is peace that I'm seeking, if this relationship warrants a restoration, just if now, then what can I do? What part can I play to ensure that that goal is achieved? If that's not the goal, then don't complain. Take what you get. If you make a choice, back it. But don't leave in pain. It cannot be that the person who offended you and you decide to set up boundaries in parting yourself with this person or with this relationship, that you leave bitter and not better. That is what I'm saying here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, continue. Sorry.
I would want to. Okay. I'm understanding what you say, see, feel, and does triggers me. I'm hearing that our interaction brings to the surface the internal source of my troubled feelings. I invite you to look at my mess, my stuff, but it would help me if you would be willing to acknowledge that you are the spark more than the source of my pain.
Wow. When you catch that, people?
Yes.
Can you imagine you are having this conversation with the person Look at the level of adjustment that you're prepared to make for yourself, even before it reaches to a stage where you have to protect yourself going forward. I'm saying, before it reaches the stage where you have to protect yourself from this person going forward, what adjustment did you make that even if you have to part, you're still not in pain? For that to happen, you have to own it. You have to recognize, what is it that I can do or even should do? What kind of conversation piece I can have with you where when I'm through, the person doesn't feel like I have labeled them, but they recognize that that my mannerism, attitude, and approach has educated them, not labeled them, but educated them. And hence the conversation will sound something like this. I want you to look at my mess. I'm taking responsibility for what I may have even contributed to you. I said may, because maybe you didn't either. But maybe I did something to cause you to be thinking this way and treating me a particular way. But it would help if you would be willing to what? Acknowledge that you are the spark. So we're not indemnifying you from the wrong that you did to me, you know. But I'm saying to you, you're not the source of my pain. The minute I say you're the source of my pain, then I've given you too much power over me. I'm prepared to go to jail for you. Because I'm going to do foolishness in response to how you treat me. Let's continue. Another question.
So, you agree that I must take responsibility for hurting you? Yes. Well, yes, but with a certain mindset. When I overact, empathize with me, please. At that moment, I have not made the connection between the triggering incident and my past losses, my hurts, frustrations, and disappointments.
Stop right there. All I'm saying. So, yes, there are times in which we're going to feel hurt and we're going to have what is called a knee-jerk reaction to the pain. But can you imagine you're saying to the person, to your spouse, your partner, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your co-worker, you know, I overreacted and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I overreacted. I should have made a connection and I did not. Other things were probably bothering me and I overloaded on you or I downloaded rather on you. And maybe I need to download on you. Maybe I've been painting up this thing and I should have had the conversation with you a long time and I didn't do so. And so this was why I exploded the way I did. But please understand, you may have lit the fuse, but the bomb went off in me. You light the fuse, you know, but the bomb went off in me. And that's what I want us again to understand, ladies and gentlemen. If you get rid of the explosive material, it doesn't matter who light the fuse. Which then means it changes the conversation piece that you have with people. It changes it, you know. At least, at minimum, the intensity of the pain will not be the same. The intensity of your response will not be the same, cannot be the same, because there wasn't any bomb inside of it to go off in the first place. Therefore, I invite you to listen to my pain. The purpose is to understand my own reactions, not to attack or to control you. That's not the goal when I have that conversation with you.
I want to liberate myself from pain, not manipulate you into meeting my needs.
Stop right there. I want to liberate myself from pain. The minute when I have that conversation with you, is it that I'm trying to guilt you to do something about it? Suppose you don't feel guilty. It means, therefore, I can remain in pain, you know. It means, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to remain in pain. Can you imagine I come to you and say, listen, I never like how you treat, I never like, and you should have, and you should not have, and what have you. All right, we download. And the person said, so what? What happens to, not only what happens to the relationship from there, but what happens to you emotionally, psychologically, possibly even physically? What happened to your blood pressure? What happened to your aneurysm? What happened to the root of bitterness? Look at what it's also doing to you, not only the relationship, though, but with you. Because here you shared, why do you think you share your pain? Because the goal is to manipulate change in them, in the other person, You need to, and you must. Suppose them say, no, what happened to you and them? So, if possible, this is what I need from you. If possible, notice the key term there is if it is possible. Matter of fact, that's what the word of God says, If it be possible, live at peace with everybody, or be at peace with everybody. So even the word of God has invited us to have a particular response to people who don't treat us a particular way. So we have Bible for it. Matthew chapter 5, I think 44, something like that. Say, do good to those who mistreat you and say all manner of evil against you. I think that is where it is for. I'm not sure, but we can back it up or look it up, somebody, and say, put it in the thing. So God says we must do, even the word of God, Jesus invited us to behave a particular way in spite of how we have been treated. In spite of it. It didn't say do good in hope that they will change. No. Whether or not them changes or no, we have a responsibility to do the right thing. Am I prepared to own it or still ask you for change so that I can be better and live better? If possible, this is what I need from you. If possible, go ahead.
Will you receive what I say and feel non-defensively?
What do I mean by that? Sometimes when we're talking to people, and this is what part of the problem too. Sometimes we don't even know how to talk to people. We really need to, and if we take responsibility for our inner world, then we are in a better position to have a conversation with people. If we don't take responsibility for our inner world, then we come labeling, we come blaming, we come shaming, we come telling persons what to do in order for us to do better or be better. My argument is that, will you receive what I say and feel non-defensive? So I'm going to say something to you. But since, remember, the goal is to express, not to expose. Remember that statement? Remember that statement, ladies and gentlemen? If I can't find it. See it here. My goal is to express, not to expose you. My argument is, friends and family, that check this out. I invite you to listen to my pain. The purpose is to understand my own reactions, not to attack or to control you. That's not the goal. And if we believe that, then to change our approach to the person who offended us. If we believe that. And this is how, so therefore, we are in a better position now to have this conversation. Will you receive what I'm saying non-defensively? Maybe you won't. But the way I coin it, phrase it, frame it, you will not feel attacked. You will not feel attacked. Will you be made aware of what you have done? Yes. But you will not feel attacked by me, because what is the goal? What is the goal? Will you look me in the eye and listen? And the reason why I choose that one too is because some folks, they will look all over the place, which then means that they are not interested in hearing what you have to say. The body language already tell you, say, listen, if I ever talk, you say, you're going to vex me further. Will you look me in the eye? This is what I'm saying. Is it possible? Will you verbally validate what I say and feel on words? Can you even say, can you have some kind of feelings about what I'm saying to you? You know, can you say, wow, I did not know, I understand. Thank you very much for telling me. Are we able to listen to people's context whenever we're having conversations? Or is it that we're just waiting to hear something because we already have our defensive argument well planned out? And we run ahead and just figure they're going to come and say something that we don't like, so we come to give our defense. Some of us are very good defense lawyers. No, seriously. You know, all we know to do is to argue our point in defending ourselves, rather than stop to understand the context of the other person and see how we can make the adjustment to bring about change or to change the outcome of the relationship, if it is possible. But it doesn't end there. And this is now, we're getting now into part two. Part two is where I begin. Thank you very much, my wonderful assistant.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Now, I won't take much time right here. Or let's see. Question. Let me try and process some of what you have said to me. Although you may have done something to hurt me, I do not have to retaliate or react to you negatively. Am I correct? I will give you enough time to ask questions. I see I already have some questions or maybe some things in the chat there. Just bear with me a little bit. I'm not going to take long right here. Answer, yes. So remember the question now. The question was, you have done something to hurt me. I do not have to retaliate or react to you negatively. Although you have done me wrong, I don't have to. Is that what you're saying to me, Mr. Allen Casey? And I'm saying, yes. If I retaliate, then your bad behavior determines my response. And if it does, then you're in control of me. And I do not have my freedom. If you control me, how am I have my freedom? If you decide that today you're going to make me unhappy, and you pull the string. If you decide that today you're going to make me say what I mustn't say, I'm going to sin my soul. Look much power you have over me. Yes, Mr. Allen Case, I'm not busy with what I say, but certain things, no man, it hurt. I'm only human. I agree. All of us, and only you are only human. Then why is it that the scriptures would invite us? Why would it say a soft answer turns away wrath? Why is it still call upon us to behave a particular way so that we can limit aggression? We can diffuse a situation. Why is it that 1 Corinthians 13 speaks to us about love? Love is patient, love is kind. You know what that means? Even if somebody is not patient or unkind to you, you must still demonstrate kindness in a loving way. Still. So rather than feeling victimized by them, are you prepared to love? And what I find unique about 1 Corinthians 13 is that it's one directional. It's not asking for you to be treated fairly, for you to demonstrate love. That's it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is emotional intelligence. That, ladies and gentlemen, is self-efficacy. And if we had more persons where our minds can change and start to think along that line, I guarantee you, the killings, the murder, the bad mind, the bitterness, the aneurysm, the blood vessel busting in your brain and your head and your foot, everything else, the high blood pressure, a host of these things could change because our hearts stay good. Because we have a different heart condition or different attitude towards persons who offended us. A wonderful story in the Bible, Joseph had the opportunity to give it back to him brothers them. And you know what he said to them? You meant it for bad, but God meant it for good. Why we can't have some Joseph mindset and mentality? It can happen. What I'm sharing here is not new, you know. The word of God already teach this. I just find another way to teach it. Just saying, it's really nothing new. If I retaliate, then your bad behavior is determining my response. I don't have my freedom because you run me or control me. So here are my goals for me. These are my 5 freedoms to be me. Now you ain't like them, but these are my 5 freedoms to be me. What are they, folks? Can I get somebody else to read? Who can read aloud? Maybe even a male for that matter. Anybody else? Yes, no? I said, you are the male reading. Go ahead, I hear a voice, go ahead. Okay.
Hi, good evening. Is it possible you could repeat what you said a while ago?
Well, I was asking somebody to read. I said, I wanted a male, someone else to read what I have on the screen here. I was hoping I would get a male, but if you come on, you can go ahead and read.
Here are my goals for me. These are my 5 freedoms to me. I want to see and hear what is here instead of what should be, was or will be. In other words, I'm ready to evoke change in me now.
Stop right there. Very, very good. Stay with me a little bit. I want you to stay on and stay with me a little bit. Watch this. My 5 goals to be me. Ladies and gentlemen are coming down. Don't worry. Coming down. We still have another 20 minutes leave of this session. Here are my goals for me. And I invite folks to understand that you must have a goal for you. Your goal for you. Too many times we allow a person's opinion of us to identify who we are or what we become. Here are my goals for my freedom to be me. We love micromanage people and tell people what to do and what they mustn't do and everything, and it's just from our context for us to have a better life and a fulfilling life. But see there, we stop looking at the mirror and start looking for somebody else.
Sorry, not hearing you.
You can't hear me? Wow.
Yeah, I
Can
am
you hear me
hearing
now?
fine.
Oh, you're hearing already?
Yes.
We are hearing you. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. But I try to talk even louder. I want to see and hear what is here. When I look in the mirror, what do I see? What am I exposed to here and now? I want to be authentic with the person that I see. I want to be true to me. I need to stop wearing the mask that you want to put on me. What I should be should not necessarily be according to your wishes for me. I want to evoke the change in me because I see the necessity to do so. Sometimes we change because other person want to see that change in us. And so the truth is we have not owned the change ourselves. So we just follow. And following has become the status quo. And the way people manipulate us to follow them, I really believe, I really think. Why you think you really believe and you really think more important than mine? Why do you believe that your really think and really believe is more important than my one? I really believe and I really think that. When they're done with us, and if they do it with much authority, and if we are respective persons, of course, we better get rid of what I know of me. And gaslighting becomes the order of the day. And so the truth is, we have denied ourselves and tried to become you. And when it's not working, we hide from you. a unique thing with Christianity, or let me say with even church-going people. Church-going people want to behave according to what the preacher want them to be. You must want to be what God wants you to be, since you are created in his image. And the reason why you start to hide from preacher, hide from things, because you want to change according to what him said. And you don't own it yourself. Once you own it, it is in spite of what him said or what she said. In our context is him. And I understand, I hope you understand. Well, most of you may not understand what I mean by that, but that's all right. Okay? So, and all I'm just saying here, folks, once you own it, once you believe that this change is necessary for you, then you're ready to make it. And so you don't need people to be micromanaging you and watching to see if they can do the right thing, yes or no. No, you recognize what that objective standard is, and you're prepared to subject yourself to it, irrespective of what the world thinks, or even invite you to do, or even how to re-identify yourself. No, what do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about yourself? Who is it that you want to become? Do you believe that you have been created in the image of God? And if that is the case, what must that look like in your everyday thinking and living? Not what people say. Just saying. That's the freedom to be me. My next freedom to be me. I want to see what I feel and think instead of what I'm expected to. Yes, man, when we talk to people, we choose what is what we're going to say from what we're not going to say. Why? Because this is what they expect of us. When the folks play church, play Christian, right? Or play or appear to be this nice person in this relationship, because that's what's expected of them. You're not being authentic, you're not free. You're not free, If when I come to you, I can't be me. But when I go over there, it's only when I reach home I can let down my hair. Then really, what? What happened? I'm not saying that we must not that the environment doesn't change an adjustment to how we interact. That's not what I'm saying. And that relationship to relationship will change the nature of the interaction. But should the relationship change who I am? Should it change who I am? Should I try to write in red ink when I'm a proper black ink? Just because you prefer black ink over red ink? Or red ink rather over black ink? I want to feel my next freedom to be me. I want to feel and sense what I experience instead of hiding and defending. And most time in our defense, we come across very mean and ugly. Sometimes in our defense, we take it to a different level. We say, "Me not care what everybody wants about me. Me not care. It's a whole me, man, a hypocrite." So I have a cause to defend. and then start label people to defend who I am. When I hypocrite, man, a hypocrite. Me not put my mouth on ground. Why we have to be ugly in defending ourselves? I'm not saying everybody does that. I'm just saying there are some. You're not being authentic then, man. The minute you have to force people to accept who you are now, you miss the point. Because people have a choice to accept you as you are or not. That's still their choice. But should you change because they don't? Is a question you must know. But the freedom to be me says, I want to ask for what I want instead of ignoring my needs or waiting to be given to. If I don't do this, then I'm not free indeed. Ignoring my needs, I really want to ask, I really want to have this conversation. I really want to have have this as a goal. I really want to become this person. I really want. But see there, but the person said, no, not in this family. I really want. And so a lot of folks have been coerced or even forced or manipulated in becoming somebody else. And that's why we have a crisis in our own identity. That's why we have a crisis in our own identity, folks. And by and large, come like we can't even think for ourselves. And this is why, if you think about it, the way people speak to us is frequently, and maybe I'm guilty of doing that here and now, is seem to be commanding and demanding a particular behavior of us and from us. You need to, 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 you need to. The question is, do you want to? Do you want to? You're not free. And of course, the final one, I want to take a risk by myself, man. I want to be proactive instead of choosing to be only secure or even afraid of offending you. I have to run it by you, and everything I have to run by you and get your approval. When you want to. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are saying this freedom to be me within the context of doing the right thing, not the freedom to be me to go do something foolish or to bring harm to yourself. That's not what, so that's not the context here. Here are my goals. So the first one, the freedom to be me, and here are my goals for what now? Check it out. Here are my goals for relating to you. Can I get another reader? We'll soon finish. Can I get another reader? Thank that person for reading earlier. The 2 persons so far. Can I get another reader? I'm male even this time. You don't have plenty to read. Here are my goals for relating to you. Yes? Yes? All right. Here are my goals for relating to you. I want to love you without clutching. What do I mean by this? Sometimes we make people feel like they don't have no space, where they don't even have an opportunity to tell you that I don't love you that way here. It's sacrilege for them to deny the way you want to love them. It's sacrilege. My goals in relating to you, if I'm going to love you, guess what happens? You don't have to feel like you have to return it. You don't have to feel like you have to return it. Remember 1 Corinthians 13, I say it is one directional. It is not dependent on how it is treated for it to be executed. I want to love you without clutching. I want to appreciate you without judging. So I understand who you are, and this is what you want, and this is how you express yourself. The different personality types is right there, rather than force people to have my personality or to think like me. And because they don't think like me, then you can go over there with the rest of those folks who don't think like me. And those who think like me, you can come over here and we will just be friends and bosom buddies and just kind of just, put those people aside because they don't think like me. I want to join you without invading. So you know what to do, folks? So don't make yourself appear. Don't ask. May I? Irrespective of the nature of the relationship, ask, no man. Sometimes people may not want you in that space, Just because you're wife, just because you're husband, just because you're mother, just because you're daughter, just because you're son, just because. No. Ask. Join without invading. Invite you without demanding, hence the asking. Be myself without guilt. Be myself without you. If you cannot be yourself, if you're going to feel guilty for being yourself, ladies and gentlemen, that is called, and you can write this down, existential guilt. Or it is tantamount to what? Existential guilt. You cannot be yourself without feeling guilty. So you have to be this, you have to be bright. You have to be smart. You can't get zero. You can't get that. You can't make no mistake. You can't. Because this is, because in this family, nobody ever gets zero. Oh, golly. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. But I must say, my goal is to relating to you. And I give you feedback without blaming. Not talking to you. I don't have to sound like me, I cuss you. And talk about, you know what I don't like about you? You know what? No, you can't just share. Express, no man. No expose. And can I offer help without insulting? Yeah, I'm here if you need me. And if they don't come to you for help, don't feel bad. And a matter of fact, just because them don't come for your help today, it don't mean that you can't invite your services tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Rather than vex that and say, all right, then, and just wait for them for their demise. And then tell them, say, see, but I told you that you could have asked me, but you chose not to. So okay then. So whatever happens, whatever is, it just is. See, full of yourself, man. Full of yourself. That's how we have relationship with people. If you will offer me the same, then we can truly meet and enrich each other's lives and living. Final question. Do you think that people would readily adapt to this type of communication in their relationships? And if your answer is no, then why? Short answer, no. And here's why. Because it makes us feel vulnerable. That's why what we're sharing here is not, it's going to be difficult for some people to adapt. It can be difficult. Let me change that. It can be difficult for some people to adapt to this way of thinking and living and operating and communicating because it can make us feel vulnerable. It seemingly takes away our right to vent and give others, or in this context, even our spouses or our partners, the opportunity to take advantage of us. The key term here is that seemingly. And that's why it's going to be difficult for persons to make the adjustment. And while I understand the caution and fear, Carla Dunbar would say relationship must be other person-centered. The tenets of agape love, why will it make it difficult? Because the tenets of agape love will make us susceptible to not being loved in return. In other words, just because you are an example of love, it don't mean that you'll get it back. That's why we must learn to love in spite of and not because of. My question is, should that stop us from loving? Absolutely not. Loving someone because of yield its rewards, but loving others in spite of will provide an opportunity for lasting peace and joy. Because you're at peace with what you're doing. You're not doing it so that you can get back. You're doing it whether you get back, yes or no. And if that wasn't enough, the Bible tells us in Philippians 2 verse 3, let nothing be done through strife or vain glory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem the other better than themselves or himself. And with that, I thank you. Well, can I was trying to. Oh, still have one more question. Sorry about that. Soon finish now. Takeaway lessons. Far too long and too often we have allowed how we feel to dictate what is it we must do. We have allowed those feelings to interrupt, interfere, and even intercede with the choice to do the right thing. The sun going down on our wrath is no longer an exception, but now the norm. Our stubbornness, which leads to unhappiness, has turned many away from marriages and healthy relationships. If we change the way we communicate, we will change the way we relate, the way we facilitate, and therefore stimulate others to emulate. That's my takeaway. And what takeaway lesson? The Bible has long been the advocate on how to respond positively to those who have offended us. Matthew 5:43 to 45. So it was Matthew 5. You've heard that it was said, love your neighbor, hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. Pray for those who persecute you. It's very difficult for you to be praying for those who persecute you if your heart is not in the right place. Why? And it can be a demise prayer for them. The Bible says that you may be children of your Father in heaven. Look at what he does. He causes his sun to rise on the evil. So he is even doing something. He's behaving a particular way to whom? The evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the righteous. God still do the right thing, irrespective of the relationship you have with him. It might be useful to note that our enemies could also be our wives, our husbands, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, and other close relatives. Our responsibility is to treat them the way God would. And with that, I hope and trust that this was an interesting sharing. And that, again, if you want to have further conversation with me about how we can put this together and for it to become real in our lives, there's my contact details, right? Again, I said it up front, it might cost you to do so, but don't let that interfere with you reaching out, especially if you seek to have this kind of change in your life. God bless, Godspeed.
Thank you, Brother Andre. So I want to leave space for questions, feedback, comments this time. Do you have any questions for Brother Alan Casey at this time?
This is more like a comment. Thank you again, Brother Alan Casey. Very, very well received. A lot of this has to do with whether or not the other party, I guess, is receptive. But I suppose you just have to love them and leave them if they are not, for your sanity.
Yeah. Well, I want to go further than that. I am saying, even if they are not receptive, you must be the example of doing the right thing, because it is important that you are at peace with your decision going forward and not ask them permission for you to do the right thing or find yourself reacting to how you have been treated.
Oh yeah, the other thing is that I suppose we should learn to respond and not react.
Excellent.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? As we indicated, these sessions are brought to you with the compliments of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. We worship at 77 Red Hills Road, and our worship service starts at 9 o'clock, and we have a Bible class immediately after, and then we have a midweek Bible class on Tuesdays. For the online aspects, we support online worship as well, where we have this use the very same access that you use today, right? So that's the information here. And the question asked again, yes, the session has been streamed live on YouTube, and you can access them here, not only these NAV live sessions, but also your sermons and the Bible classes. And you can go to our website, standardchurchofchrist.org/media, or on YouTube, Simply Christians JA. Also on Facebook, Simply Christians JA. All that information is available. The door is still open for comments, questions, feedback. Just want to thank Brother Andre again for a insightful and challenging, yes. Sometimes behavior modification requires challenges. It requires us to have a completely different perspective. It requires us also sometimes to move in the opposite direction to how we have been socialized. Yeah. So things that we have grown up in our family, this is the way we do things. This is how, you know, we operate in this organization. This is how our friends, if you're part of this friendship, this little group, this clique, if you want to call it, this is how we behave. Sometimes doing the right thing requires us to march to a different drum beat. And tonight, definitely this session invited us to definitely march to a different drum beat. So yeah, I would imagine that some of this might take a little time to digest. Certainly, having the conversations, you know, as outlined, might require a different approach. Yes, it's definitely will take courage, but it's carrying us in the same direction. Without pulling back from it, I'm saying at least if you don't develop the courage yet to have it with the person, at least have it, you know, go through the virtual conversation, so that at least it will help you with your mindset. That's a thought. And you know, but I would encourage you to develop the courage to actually have the dialogue. It would certainly change how we relate to one another if we can start to have this kind of open dialogue. All right. Yeah. All right. And any other questions? Brother Andre, if you want to double down and say anything else. I want to just stick something in without opening up any big dialogue, but there was a discussion that I had today with someone where at their workplace, somebody sent them a note about the tone of conversations, etc. And then sort of disappeared. Eventually they spoke. But what they were saying is that the individual was at pains to say, you know, my understanding of how you want this relationship to function is that we must be direct and we must come, you know, straight and talk to each other openly. But the person was saying to me, I know because somebody told me that this individual had actually gone to them to complain, and the individual said, don't complain to me, go talk to the person directly. So sometimes this kind of to my face, one thing, behind my back, another thing, some of that is also not healthy. And if we could have the courage to have the dialogue as outlined here, it will make a difference. Instead of smile to my face and behind my back, you're saying something else. Go ahead, Lisa.
Good evening. It was an error. I just wanted to know if I came on a little late. So I just wanted to know if they'll be having another meeting of this kind in the near future.
Every month, first Saturday in every month, 6:30, using this very same link. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. It was my first, and I really, really enjoyed this.
Thank you. All right, you have inspired me to say one other thing, is that if you have benefited, no, let me even go worse now. I'm going to get myself in trouble. So some of us have a little easy. When we were going through the session, we were thinking about that we should tell Mary, I want, boy, believe you me, if John was just in this thing, it would have sought him out. Here's the thing. Just send John the link and send me the link. Just say, yeah, watch it, I'll participate in this thing, and it's very interesting. Watch it, man. Okay. So that way you could actually get the message to them without saying it up front initially. All right. So that's a suggestion. Share it with those persons who have said, "Boy, I wish that them could have heard this or see this." Go ahead, Sekou.
Hello. Oh, yes. Good night. So I have a question, right? Right? Or we respond to the persons who, who are consistently toxic, right? Does that mean also, even while responding to them, like a Joseph would, we should still limit our access, right? Because when I say access, as in spiritual access, emotional access, and just how accessible we are to them, because given that we respond to them in a way that is way different or are in contrast to how they are, right? Does that, like, say for a period of time, right, they tend to tone down, or they do tone down and stuff, is it okay then to become accessible to them in certain regard, or that would be us setting ourselves up like a predator to a prey?
I must answer.
Are you? You know what?
Thank you very much for your question, sir.
Keep me out of trouble, brother. You answer.
There are two responses to that in my mind. If you have done your best to try and be an example of doing good to someone else, and they're not buying it, then you have to understand that that's their choice. The Bible said, whosoever will, let him come. You have a choice. Now, what you must never stop doing is being the influence of saying and doing the right thing. Because we're doing it because that is what is in us. If we say you are created in the image of God, at what stage the image of God must stop manifest itself? At what stage? When the person gets really, really toxic? At what stage? When is it okay for us not to display the image of God? And so that's I said two response. That's one. The next one though is, should I protect myself going forward? Do I have a right to protect myself going forward? The Bible said bad companionship corrupt good morals. Bad companionship corrupt good morals. So you must know if you want to expose yourself to this person, and whether or not this person is and the kind of effect that it's going to have on you, negative effect that is going to have on you. So you might need to put things in place to protect yourself going forward. Those are my two responses. I hope it helps.
Yep, excellent. Thank you, sir. And go ahead, Sekou.
Oh, I was just saying thank you. That's very clear. Clear response. Thank you.
All right, so I support that as well. As a matter of fact, I was just reading today, like Paul, actually pull out his group from a congregation, a synagogue where there was people consistently being toxic, if you want to call it that way, and went and took his disciples and worship elsewhere. So that is there. One consideration as well, just want to see Alison. I'm going to just ask, I don't want to stop the question, so if we have to go over a couple of minutes, please don't worry. I see your hand, Alison. One of the things that we're trying to do as well in these sessions is to see how we can influence others. So even in the toxic situation, remember Brother Andre pointed out, and I was gonna, if I had to put up a hand when he was asking, which one of these things you think is most prevalent? And he went to withdrawal. That was where I was as well. And so one of the things that we have to look at then is that how quickly is withdrawal the response, is that the first quick response that as soon as, boy, this thing don't look so right, I'm out, let me separate myself from you. We have to be careful of that as well, because if we're going to be salt, if we're going to be light, we also have to be in contact with individuals. So I'm just saying, fully don't go down a road. And I said, there is Bible, there is all sorts of examples that supports the need to separate. But let it not be the first knee-jerk thing that what we can do with you, I'm out. Let withdrawal not be the first thing that comes to mind. All right, go ahead, Alison.
Thank you so much. I had written down a question when you stated that we should apologize because maybe we might have said something to trigger something within the other person. Isn't that blaming yourself for the person's behavior or action? And what if it is that you would have apologized 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Do you keep apologizing every time the person responds in a negative manner? Or what is it that you do? And I've seen I've been hearing about this word narcissistic. Wouldn't that be a form of manipulation from the other person's by not accepting your apology?
Okay. There's a little bit of correction. The context of what I was stating about the apology was not so much about how the person treated you. No, that's not the context of the apology. The context of the apology is how you responded to them. So since you responded by withdrawing, since you responded by being mean or feeling ugly, feeling like you have to tell everybody about how they treated you, since you responded by they pull out some negative behavior and thinking because you feel victimized by them, since that is the case and you responded in an ugly way, that's the context of the apology. So that is where that is concerned.
Okay, I get that, and I thank you for clarity. But what if you actually did that, but they still did not recognize that? Yeah, you went and you told everybody about them. You were bitter towards them. What if that you open up the space to have a relationship with them, but they ended up doing the same thing over again?
Okay, excellent question. My argument though, who you did it for? In other words, did you become an example of doing the right thing for them to respond to you in a positive way? Or did you do it because it's the right thing to do? See, one of our problem is that if we do the right and it's not returned to us, then we feel further victimized. That's not what I'm trying to espouse here. What I'm trying to say is that once we develop certain traits about ourselves, that's why I went back to the story of Joseph. Joseph had enough reasons to say, I am going to retaliate. Come on, his own siblings, his brothers and sisters, his brothers rather, wanted to kill him. Not just, I could have tell him, I killed them, band for kill him. And here he had an opportunity to return the favor, and him said no. You see, so the question we must ask ourselves, what am I made up of? And how much ugliness I need to get to decide that enough is enough. It's time me start to mirror ugliness myself. I'm saying you don't have Bible for that.
That's good.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
it is. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. So another question, right? So say the person who is behaving this way, right, is somebody who's pretty close, you know, say like a mother, a father, a sister, some close relative or immediate family member. And then, you know, no matter how much you constantly or consistently, you know, take the right approach or do the things because it is the right thing to do, you know, and it continues for years and years, and you're doing and you're giving because it is the right thing to do. But on the other hand, the person just doesn't seem, you know, it's like they just don't take a break. It's like they continue being who they are, difficult, toxic, narcissistic, all of those stuff, you know, and you have to deal with them because, you know, that's just how life set it up. Like, when do, you know, us or the person on the other end who is consistently being like a Joseph, when do they get a break, or what are the alternatives or suggestions can you provide for persons who are on the receiving end from persons like those, you know, like how do we deal with it, you know, if it's something that's going on for like years? How do we better manage it so that it doesn't you know, break us? Because at times it can or may break us.
Okay. Well, everything about what we shared, this was part 2, but both part 1 and part 2, it's on the youtube.com. See Simple Christians JA. You can look up for it, look up for the title, and you'll see it there. You can even Google it. You can go on YouTube and Google it, and remember the title of what we discussed here, you know, managing me to manage my relationship with you. And so, to answer your question, do I stop managing me? You see, everything about what I shared actually is to empower the persons to manage themselves, because we cannot manage every situation. But if we manage ourselves, if we have something that is unique to us that we believe in, if black ink is in your pen, then no matter how much we cost the pen and even want the pen to behave like a phone, or to behave or to write in red ink, or to behave like a pencil, no matter what kind of abuse we level towards the pen, only black ink can come out of it. You see, what's inside of you is what can come out of you. Our problem is that we try to control the situations and the circumstances so as to ensure that we behave a particular way. And I'm saying it's the opposite way around. It should be where we have something inside of us. We have our own convictions about who we are as a person. And as life unfolds itself and we are bombarded with ugliness, that we remain true to what we believe in, the black ink can still come out of us. We can't allow the situation to regulate and dictate what we become or who we become. I hope that helps.
It did, yeah, man. Clear, definitely. Thank you.
All right. I think we have to pull down the tent there unless there's somebody who has an urgent question that needs to be answered. Any questions? Last word? All right. So once again, thank you, Brother Andre. A powerful session. My takeaway is a mindset. You have to adjust our mindsets to along the lines addressed it. But there's some serious content. I think even anybody who has been through both sessions, paid attention, even took notes, I'm suggesting that you go back again, Simple Christians JA on YouTube and access it. And definitely, I was not joking when I was saying to you that if you have, especially Sekou or somebody else who was talking about being in the toxic situation, yeah, send them the link. Same way that send them a link with Julie Mango or somebody, whoever it is, whatever, send them the link, man. And it might make a difference. Send them the link. All right. And having said that, look forward to seeing you in worship tomorrow, 77 Redlands Road. We start at 9 and we have a Bible class immediately after. And using the same link, you can actually access the service as well as our Tuesday night Bible class at 6:30. Thank you. May God continue to bless you and hope that our relationships will change for the better and that we can see our crime statistics going down, down, down. A lot of the domestic challenges that we have could be fixed by just having people not only watch these things, but implement. These 2 sessions could make a difference. We need to send it to the Commissioner of Police and the Minister of National Security so that they can actually change. I'm serious. I'm not joking here. I'm dead serious that what is put out here in these 2 sessions will make a huge difference to interpersonal relations and reduce the crime rate. Thanks, brother. Be at peace.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much for being a part of this effort by St. Andrew Church of Christ. God bless. Looking forward to see you next year, all being well.